Shazam! Fury of the Gods is the sequel to Shazam, which came out many years ago. I was excited for this one. I enjoyed the first Shazam. It was a a really interesting sleeper hit because it was one of like Warner Brothers kind of like riskier ventures because I think they made the movie for only 90 mil. Same with Birds of Prey. And that one did pretty well, made like 350 mil. I'm a casual Captain Marvel Shazam fan. I've like seen him in a couple animated movies and shows, and I've read a couple of his comics, but not really like a hardcore fan. So the movie was very surprising, really great cast. I was excited to see what the sequel would hold because they retained a lot of the same creative team, same cast, same writer. They added Chris Morgan of the Fast and Furious movies, same director. Added some new talent for the villains, and the movie is pretty interesting. It's enjoyable and entertaining. It does sort of fall prey to the whole spoiler thing because there's no spoilers in this review, but there's a secret cameo that got leaked, and also one of the villains is undercover. That also got leaked in a cast photo. People really do just like to show too much, in advertising or just photos. So a lot of surprises are like not surprising in the film, which sucks. But that's just the way it is. We live in that sort of oversharing world. But anyways, this movie is about Billy. He is now almost 18. He's afraid of being aged out of the foster home. He's there and he's like enjoying himself. And he has a new rule where it's called all or none, where the 5 of them, he wants basically all of them to be superheroes. There's more than 5, I think there's 6. But basically, they each want to do their own thing, though, especially Freddy. Freddy kind of takes the forefront as the heart and soul of the movie. He wants to do his own thing. He meets a girl at school, and he wants to do superhero stuff on the side. But Billy's kind of like into like the whole, we need to do things as a team. Meanwhile, Mary wants to do like school stuff, Pedro's getting out of his shell, Eugene's doing other stuff. Some of the characters get shafted a little bit, mainly Eugene and Pedro and Darla. They don't get to do much in the film, but Mary takes a sort of front role as like the smart one, and because she's already an adult. And then Freddy as well. So the villains are okay too. They basically show up in the first scene. You got Hespera. Really great performance from Helen Mirren, to be honest. She's really malevolent. She's having fun. She does a lot of dramatic roles, but sometimes you just want to shake off and play a fun villain role, like Cate Blanchett in Thor Ragnarok. So she plays Hespera. Then Lucy Liu as Calypso wasn't that great. Not a lot of chemistry with the other sisters, and kind of one note. She's just vengeful. And then you got another one. She's got like cool powers of like, I don't know what it is really. It's a form of teleportation, really, where you basically just move things around, kind of like how they do in the Doctor Strange movies. So there's 3 daughters of Atlas, and they want to get the staff, and they want to take the powers of the Shazam family away from them. And then basically there's a big battle for the city with the dome and everything, and there's a cool dragon. The movie has some dumb parts. I really didn't like the whole monsters element. There's like a scene where the bad guys plant something and then villains show up. Henchmen monsters like the Chimera, Harpies, Minotaur, Cyclops, and it felt really like out of place, like the zombies from Black Adam. In Black Adam, the undead show up and they just like don't do anything, attack civilians, and then other civilians have to fight them. That's what the characters in this movie do. It feels really superfluous, like they didn't have anything to do. They should have, kept their powers and just like fought the monsters. It would have been more interesting because what we get is really cheesy and not in a good way. Everyone else is doing a fine job, though. There's a lot of visual effects, a lot of like spectacle, and the movie's a little bit unfocused though, because the first one was basically like a story of trying to belong somewhere. Billy's trying to find his mom and stuff, but that's coupled with a superhero fantasy story, but it's not completely superhero-ish because Billy wants to make money off YouTube and just like, just messing around, really. This one has a harder time finding that sort of, what's the word, the conflict. There's Freddy wanting to do his own thing. There's also him being afraid of losing his family, but then there's also like the trauma of like his childhood. There's just too much going on. They could have picked a better thorough line for that, because like the movie's very plot heavy, very visual effects heavy, and it kind of gets, all that other stuff gets lost in the shuffle, feels a little forced. Even though this movie is the same length as the first film, it feels a little bit rushed at the end, because they're trying to like throw in emotional moments that aren't really earned. But there's a lot of like, you know, punching things, a lot of fantasy elements I really liked, like the Rock of Eternity has like this giant cavern full of doors, portals that go to other worlds. They don't really explore that. I thought they'd have a big battle in there or something. There's also like a book, like a secret room of like flying books and stuff. That's pretty cool. I like the fantasy elements of this. And yeah, it was an entertaining time. It was about as good as Black Adam. Not as good as the first film, but I give Shazam! Fury of the Gods a 7 out of 10.